Welcome to Perspectives in Mobile, the news podcast from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. Join us discussing the world of telecommunications, technology, and mobile innovations. From London, Dario Betty, MEF CEO.
Hello everyone, welcome to Perspectives, the podcast from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. My name is Dario Betty and it's a pleasure here to have Christopher Henseler. Christopher, did I pronounce your name correctly? Tell me.
Perfectly, actually, yes.
Oh, wow, thank you. Well, today we're talking with Christopher about lots of things. And we're talking about Mesh Ads because you are the CEO of Mesh Ads, but you also have a 10 years experience in strategic development, consulting, customer-focused roles in the mobile ecosystem. Now, today you support companies to rethink and operationalize their mobile marketing experience. Let's start with that. What is today a mobile marketing experience? And eventually, what is Mesh Ads?
All right. So first of all, thanks for having me here. Super excited to be actually on my first podcast and explaining a bit of what I'm doing, what Mesh Ads is doing. So to answer your first question, so what is mobile advertising? Right. This is was your initial question, correct?
Yes.
Or how I see it, and so. I'm personally focused purely on mobile marketing, which is also a specific field of the big marketing world. So I'm now for 13 years. I started as a media buyer in mobile marketing on things that don't exist anymore, on platforms that don't exist anymore. And the beauty of this whole marketing world, what I still enjoy, is that every day it changes. So you can never get bored. You can never feel too comfortable in your shoes. It's a constant adaptation of things. You know, the rules from the platforms you are using changing almost every day, and so this definitely never gets boring. And we are just working very closely with a lot of brands worldwide from almost any country in the world to support them promoting their virtual products. Mainly in cooperation with the mobile operators worldwide, because we're utilizing, or our clients are utilizing, the payments of DCB, direct carrier billing payments. So this is why it's always a mix of our specific niche where we are focusing on. It's mainly promoting so-called MVAS products via our advertising gateways, which is mainly Google Ads.
Okay, so you really focus on that sector. You are the mobile engagement, but for the mobile value-added services world. And then tell me, what else do you do then?
So there are a few other things that we are doing as well. So we also do some traditional marketing on working with some real estate companies, you know, promoting, helping them to promote their services, you know, and their offerings. So we also do a bit of classic marketing, but let's say 90% or 95% of our business is MVAS, promoting MVAS products, because actually this is what I personally have been doing on different roles in the whole sector the past 13 years. And this is where I have a good network of people, where I know almost everyone in this industry. And so this is also why Mesh Ads was founded, you know, because we have such a great network of people and people who trust us. And this is why in this MVAS world, it was a good start to set up Mesh Ads at the point in time.
Well, that's great, because I was going to ask you a couple of more questions around Mesh Ads, but all of this chat is about you and your perspective. So really keen to hear that, because you just mentioned that you founded Mesh Ads as an expansion of effectively your career, of a network that you had. So what has brought you to become the CEO? Was it that specific, the networking, the interest, was there a specific need unfulfilled in the market? How did you become the CEO of Mesh Ads?
Yeah, so basically when I set up my own company, which was in end of 2020, when I decided, okay, now is the right time to start my own business and not be an employee anymore. I was, and I'm still consulting companies on a freelance consultancy base. And this is mainly related to connectivity to mobile operators. So I'm supporting companies on getting direct access to mobile operators worldwide and access to DCB payment gateways. And during that time, more and more people were also asking me about the marketing part, especially on Google Ads, because MVAS companies were really struggling on setting up properly Google Ads for their business. And I started helping some companies here and there and adding some befriended marketing agencies or freelance media buyers that I introduced to my clients. And we were working on, on different kinds of engagements. But at some point, this was going very well. But it had the disadvantage that I was working with 2 third parties. I was bringing in a Google agency that I have trust in, but I have no direct control. Or I brought in a media buyer, a freelance media buyer that might do good work, but he's not my employee, so I didn't have full control. And at some point, I was talking with my favorite media buyer I was working already with for several years, and another friend of the industry, and we were thinking, why not set up a proper company altogether, so we can actually professionalize this marketing service that we are already offering to people, but to do it in the right structure and offering the best service in this industry. And this is what we are now for a bit more than 1 year doing every day and trying to provide the best service in this specific industry, I would say.
So the joy of bringing together a team that just fulfills the demand in the market. So you have there people asking you for the service. And so let me ask you something more about yourself, though, because you have a life that has been developed around Germany, I would say. But you can see from your CV a big experience in the US as well. In my view, German economy, US economy, German experience in venture capital, US and California experience in the US, very different. How did you manage this balance? What did you get out of those 2 perspectives?
Yeah, so actually I lived in California for some time during my studies to do semesters abroad, and actually this was a life-changing time for me, because was, let's say, in my early mid-20s, the first time fully being on my own in some foreign country, dealing with all the local things happening there, setting up an electricity bill, setting up a gas bill, getting a local driving license, it sounds the simple stuff, but getting an apartment there and, buying a car there, all this, really helped a lot to free my personality also, because I got so much experience, had to overcome so many challenges over there. Bought a car, the car broke after 2 weeks. I had to figure out, I had no money, but I had to figure out how to deal with this, all this kind of things, I believe are the situations that really shape you in life, to overcome such challenges. So my kids, definitely I want them to go outside of their comfort zone, going to another country as early as possible, because I believe it really helps you to become a more open-minded person, independent person, that can take care of themselves, because the world is challenging these days, It's great if you have parents that support you, but you can't rely on it, because everything can happen every day. This is what we learned during the past 3-4 years, during all the different challenges we and the world is going through, So it's good to be prepared for almost everything that can happen. And yeah, so living in the US, also I lived for some months in Asia. All this really helps to understand the world better, I believe, and to become a more personally rich, not money-wise, but personally rich person, because you just understand people better. And I think this is also why I can come along with partners currently from more than 50 countries in the world, and so I get along with almost everyone, and I think all of this from the past has their small portion in this mix, why to understand people, to be empathic, and trying to be a good person overall.
You know what I would say, that is almost a typical trait of the entrepreneur, somebody that is happy to move himself, find out new challenges, but equally being in an not easy situation. You had the options to know exactly Germany, but you went to US and California to find out all the things of independence. I mean, that's a natural setup for somebody that wants a bit more, to test a bit more. So let me ask about something else, which probably is about your life, which is life a tennis game? And I'm saying that because you've been a tennis coach for 10 years. Is this something out of that shaped yourself as well? Do you use that training from tennis and being a coach in today's life in the business?
That's actually very, very good question, and I thought about this a lot in the recent years. How this being a tennis player and being a tennis coach also shaped my personality somehow, and I can say yes, a lot, because I did my coach license when I was around 16, and then during school started to earn a little bit of money as a tennis coach, and then during my studies. And during this time, I had people from kids from 2.5 years to elderly people of 85 years, So I was coaching all sorts of people, people from all different places in the society, like school kids, multi-millionaire 80-year-old people, just all basically you got all sorts of people there, and they trusted this 16-year-old Chris or this 26-year-old Chris coach, on teaching them tennis. And but with some I also had to fight for my role. There were also those 22-year-old guys that constantly tried to challenge me. Chris, I can beat you, show what you can, So there were all kinds of situations, that you were facing. You had to prove, your position as a coach to many people. Others were just happy that someone was playing with them. So I got into all sorts of situations. Besides that, at least in Germany, in tennis clubs, it's like their own societies in tennis clubs, how those clubs work, They are run by some people who are in this club for like 50 years, and their politics and all sorts of things that are connected to what's happening in the society, Like all those clubs are little societies with their own politics and government and whatever, So you also learn a bit on those games that are being played in a very small scale, But you learn something out of this, on how to deal with the people and getting out getting the outcome that you want, for your students or for your team. And the last part I want to say is about being a tennis player, and I can also recommend, there's on Netflix, there's a show, Breakpoint, I think is the name. It's amazing because it shows the current early 20s high potential players and their struggles. And tennis is a sport where you fight against yourself. It's a constant battle against yourself. You don't have a team to back you up. Maybe when you play doubles, you have one person, but in the end, you are still, on your own. And standing there at the baseline, trying to do a proper serve. I have to hit this one, otherwise I'm done. So dealing with this type of high pressure situation in competitive games is definitely something that helps you also on challenges maybe in the business life. And so tennis overall is an interesting sport, and I always play tennis and football, or soccer, how the Americans call it. And I think both is nice, because in football you learn about being a team player, and in tennis you need to learn dealing with yourself.
You learn how to do well. I think you hit two interesting points, but you challenge yourself, you perfect yourself. But also you mentioned you become a diplomat as well, being a coach, and it's like being a CEO. Is it a lot about technology, mobile advertising, and VAS, but it's a lot about people in the end, isn't it? You have to deal with people.
It's always about people, yes. And
it's always about people in the end.
That's for me the most important part. As in the past I've been involved into organizations, where I think people were not being treated always first. And this was something that I never really liked. And this is what I said is the first thing when I start my own company, is that this is the number one thing. I want to work around happy people that enjoy working with me, with my company, and trying to create a nice environment. So this is definitely something that is on top of our priority list also at Mesh Ads. I mean, we're still super small with 10 people currently working with us, but as we are growing, we will try everything to keep a very healthy, nice environment overall. Yes.
Oh, very nice. So let me talk about that. The life, the path that you had as a Christopher Henseler, the first job in your 20s, I guess, as a Vanista Ventures. There was an incubator, early stage startups. How did that chance shaped your view of a success in mobile entertainment or learning from growing up? Was that something that really started your passion for this sector?
Yes, 100%, because I joined this company, which was, I think the word is conglomerate of different early stage startups. And I was working, let's say, at the investor level, but having like 5 jobs at the same time from the beginning. I was supporting this sub company of theirs and this sub company. So I was really lucky to get into a very diverse environment, with where I could put my eyes on different businesses, on how they were run. I was mainly involved in the online marketing in the beginning, creating advertising campaigns, creating advertising banners, and working closely already with tech teams, with design teams, with customer care. So I was already becoming what I am now. I call myself now more like a middleman, connecting between different people. And so it already started there. And I was super lucky to find this company and working there for 2 years during my master's degree as like a working student on a part-time agreement, and then starting full-time right after I finished my master's degree, and then starting in mainly in one of their ventures, which was related to the MVAS world, which was a company running MVAS services in many countries worldwide, mainly in Germany, South Africa, and some other markets. And I was lucky to start then as a project manager, where I got also a bit more in the technical world, working closely with the tech teams. And so they really gave me a good environment, to look into different areas. And at some point when I had proven myself, I think after 3-4 years working there, they also gave me the freedom to create my own things. So I started to open new countries by myself. At some point, I started even a new company inside that was like a marketing network, which was back in those days still more affiliation based. not media buying based as what we are doing right now. But they gave me the freedom also to travel the world and go to every conference, expand my network, and so I got very lucky with my actual first job, that gave me a good environment to grow step by step, and being a little entrepreneur already inside an employment contract, which was always what I like to have.
And you can see yourself how important advertising, I guess, was in that area, in the VAS area, right? Because you had to build it from the ground up for business.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was working with all sorts of advertising that existed back in the days. It was SMS advertising. So we were, when in 2010, 2011, it was a lot, because online marketing didn't really exist. iPhones just arrived, early adopters had their iPhones, so banner advertising, we call it display advertising, was coming up, yes. But before, on those feature phones, on those Blackberries, yes, there were banners, but those were like pixelated small things where you could sometimes guess, okay, maybe the advertising is about that, but the real display advertising on image ads and later on video ads, this just started, in 2011, 2012, also when apps came up, in-app advertising. So the whole industry is still quite young, and but yeah, I got the opportunity to be there from the beginning and see all those developments, from feature phones. But still, in 2015, we were still running campaigns on old Nokia phones in some African markets, right? While in Germany, we were running campaigns for iPhones. But there were still those times where you had to see how can I bring the best possible ad to a consumer, tailored also to the device, to the computer or whatever the user is actually using, and this is still the case, We're still optimizing ads towards certain Android devices, certain iPhone devices. There are all sorts of differences that you need to be aware of, and to be sure that your advertising will be effective to actually make the user to engage the users with it. That's our goal.
Well, it sounds very interesting, the fact that you have to leave the present, which is today differently. Say it's display ads, is part of the Google words as well, the advertising, the mobile marketing. But you're still dealing with the old phones today. And let's talk about the future then, because another thing that you have a founder of WAGMI Studios, which is a consulting service, but that focuses on Web 3.0, NFT, and the metaverse. This is the next chapter. So, how did you get these two for the next VAS services listening today on this call? What do you think that the future has got for us?
Oh yeah, exciting things, I believe. So to tell you a bit about the WAGMI Studios company that I'm also running, is it came out of my interest. I was quite, unfortunately, not super early adopter in Bitcoin, but I started in like 2015 to learn about it, to get interested in it, and then back in 2017, where there was the first big hype of cryptocurrencies, and a lot of things started to happen, and everyone thinking that crypto is the next big thing. And so since then, I'm very deeply involved in a lot of projects, cryptocurrency, blockchain related. And in 2021, actually, I learned about NFTs when a friend told me that he bought like a image of a bored ape for like 10,000 euros. And I started to laugh at him and telling him that he's crazy. But actually, I started to look into it, and because I know that this guy wasn't stupid. And I was trying to understand, okay, why is this guy buying a picture of a bored ape for a lot of money? And like 2 months later, I bought my first NFT, and I couldn't leave this space since then. I got really hooked on a personal level and got engaged with a lot of communities. And at some point, also with some people I met in this, especially in the German Web3 space, that is very small still, but we are all closely connected. There are conferences almost every month. People are going, and we created our own community. And this is now the biggest German-speaking Web3 community. It's happening all on Discord. And so we set this up, but purely on a personal level. And but this community was growing and growing organically. And at some point, we decided to create a company out of it. And so we're offering video courses to users to learn about Web3, about what is NFTs, what are the future use cases about it. And we're offering consultancy on the B2B level to companies on what can Web3 bring to them. And there we are kind of specialized on the community communication part, because I believe that is one of the strongest use cases Web3 projects actually have. It can build a community around brands and about companies that they couldn't do before, because all companies were doing before or are still doing in Web 2, how we call it, the current internet, which is like the Meta, Google, Microsoft owned internet, is they have their Facebook channels, they have their Instagram accounts, and they communicate with their customers on Instagram comments, kind of, or in Instagram DMs, but they don't own the database. Meta owns it, and we believe the future is that they can create their own communities that they fully own, where they pull the strings. They can build very engaging things around that. And Web3 offers actually all the technologies to do so. But honestly, you have to stop me. I can talk about this stuff forever.
Well, Christopher, our probably time for this podcast is finished, but it sounds like this was your first, but not your last. We'll have to come back and ask all of those things about Web 3.0. The last question from me then to you is: how was your first podcast? The first podcast? How did you find it? Was it good?
Yeah, I think very good, but it feels like super short. It seems like we just started 5 minutes ago, So, and as you can see, I like to talk, and especially about topics where I personally, have passion for, which is definitely the advertising part of advertising almost any product. And since 2 years also the Web3, metaverse, blockchain part, those are, let's say, business-wise my biggest passions. And so I love to talk about this, and happy to come back in the future anytime when you want to hear more about those stories I can share on this field.
Absolutely. So we heard from Christopher Henseler, the CEO of Mesh Ads, a premium Google agency that delivers quality online marketing solution for many different clients, including the VAS word, which is so close to what MEF does. But we've also heard how important these people learning and challenging, getting to do new things. And we've heard from Christopher how important is looking at web as a different platform, potentially if a completely different version of VAS as well, with the metaverse and the NFT. So we will have to come back with all of those, and we will hear more. But for now, Chris, thanks very much. It's been great. And we will hear from you in some of our conferences as well, where we talk about more about the topics and MEF as well. So stay tuned and check where Chris is talking. I think next we might have you in AfricaCom as well, and some of the material there, I believe. So fantastic. Thank you, Chris, again. And everybody, if you want to know more about Christopher, you can find more on the Mesh Ads, and you can ask us, because it's part of a community of our community of MEF members. So thanks for Chris for being here today and for being a member of MEF. Thank you.
Thanks, Dario.
Thanks for listening to Perspectives in Mobile. Join us next as we explore telecoms, technology, and mobile innovations. Stay tuned, stay connected, and let's unlock the mobile potential together.